Hey everyone, Phil from 3DP UK Tech Channel. Today's video is about the Mintion Professional Heat Press Kit. I have reviewed a number of the Mintion products now, mostly time-lapse. So time-lapse of 3D printing of both FDM and resin. So check out some of those videos. I'll leave the links in the description for that. So Mintion contacted me and asked me whether I had any use for a heat press kit. And basically that heat press kit is useful for connecting up those heat press little attachment things and putting them into your 3D prints. And if you want to put them together, if you're creating a project such as the Death Racer kit from the Real Sam Prentice, once again I'll leave a link to the Death Racer kit that you can purchase. Now, as you can see, I've already pre-assembled this. It took roughly 10 minutes from unboxing to the build itself, and as you can see, it's a very useful kit. Looks pretty good to me. Using some 3D printed items as well, which is always good to see. And then the very easy to use lowering mechanism. And inside we have some spare attachments and some bits, heat press attachments that you can use. You can store them along here in this display. So if you have a worktop in your studio or in your crafting area, everything is ready to go. And in here a cool little storage. So we'll go into some of the finer details of this heat press from Mintion and what you get in the box when you are supplied it. Thanks to Mintion for sending me this out to review. Everything that I say in this video, any videos that I bring out for reviews, is my own opinion. Yes, I do get sent them for free to review, but everything that I give you, the viewer, is my own opinion on what I think of this unit or any units that I'm reviewing. So let's head over to the unboxing, see what we get. We'll go through some of the specs on that. We'll do maybe one or two little demonstration. There's not a lot we can go into what this particular unit can do. It pretty much does what everybody knows it does, which is heat press those little attachments into your 3D printed models. So let's take a quick look at that, and then we'll go through the rest of the video, and then we'll do a final recap, my thoughts. So here we have the Mintion NUTOPRESS, as it's actually named, the heat insert tool from Mintion. So they sent me this to review. So we're just going to take a look through the contents of this box. So the first thing out of the box is the quick start guide. Now this particular item isn't going to be too difficult to put together. Okay, so this particular item is the retractable mechanism. So that's to allow it to move up and down. And the next thing out of the box is the actual unit itself. Pretty much the whole unit is based around this. It's a heat gun. You can buy these independently, but they've created this heat press tool. At the top is the handle, which is the next thing out of the box. And then we have some extrusion, so that is going to form the frame itself. And the last thing out of the box is the lower base unit. So inside the base unit you have a drawer full of goodies, and in there you will find some tools that you're going to need to use during this installation. You also have some heat press inserts, and you have the heat press ends as well, so for various sizes, so your projects can be completed with this. In there you have some clips for the cables, and like I said, also you have a heated nib as well, so if you've got any other projects that you want to do with this, it's not just limited to that. And then you've got some little clamps and clips and stuff like that. So I think I really like the fact that it has this little drawer full of goodies. And at the back of this base you will also see some inserts for your ends as well, so it can be displayed nicely on your worktop bench. I do like the fact that they have put this drawer in, because I think all your items could be found in one place. So let's just take a quick overall look at the Mintion heat press kit in its entirety and what you'll find in the box. So as you can see now, it's basically showing you everything you will find in there. You have the instruction manual, the base, the actual unit itself, the extrusion, and the handle and the retractable. So in the instruction, taking a quick look at it, there is only 7 installation steps, and that is what we're going to do in this video. So following step 1 is what we're going to do now. So to install the base, you want to use one of the M512 screws and attach the profile to the base. The next thing we want to do is install the soldering iron, and that is simple. You just slide it over the extrusion. There is a wheel in there, so with that you can adjust that if you feel that it's too wobbly, and that is basically the same sort of concept as a 3D printer. You can tighten that wheel, the eccentric wheel, and this will allow this to move freely, or if it's too wobbly you can change that. So the next step we want to do is install the retractable mechanism, and that's pretty simple. But before we do that, we just need to tighten the heat gun in place once you've slipped that into that holder itself. And now a quick word from today's video sponsor, PCB Way. PCB Way do PCB board prototyping, PCB assembly, FPC and rigid flex, advanced PCBs, CNC and 3D printing technologies. And not only do they do that, on their website you can create your magic at an easy selection screen. Now, if you have a project that you want to bring to life, you can put all that detail into their website, and their extensive warehouse and technologies can create your PCB board assembly. As you can see on the screen now, the magic is in front of your eyes. And that is today's video sponsor, PCB Way, PCB board manufacturer. Okay, so now back to the heat press kit from Mintion. So the next step in the cycle is that we now need to connect up the handle and the retractable mechanism. This is quite simple. You are going to need another M512 screw and an Allen key to be able to connect it up to the extrusion. But before you do that, you need to connect up the retractable mechanism to the actual handle itself. And it is quite easy to do that. What you need to do is ensure that the triangle point is towards the back, and just push the retractable mechanism over the handle and clip it into place. The next step we need to do is connect it up to the extrusion. It's quite simple. There's a guide. Just push it down and then connect up the M512 screw. The next thing we now need to do is connect up the retractable cable to the actual heat press kit itself. As you can see, it now moves freely and retracts back up to the top. The next step is to install the cable clips, and by doing that you have some sticky labels. Click onto the back and clip onto the side. It's very simple. This just allows for the cable to move freely away from the actual heat gun itself, because you wouldn't want any accidents with the cable touching the hot end of the actual soldering gun, and that just creates a nice tidy look to it. And that is pretty much the whole of the setup. The next step is to actually connect up one of the tips. Just select the one that you want to work with. I would suggest using, if you want to test it out, the one that's supplied that fits the actual heat inserts that are supplied in the actual box itself. And just ensure that it moves freely and goes into the actual bullseye spot in the middle. I guess that's the point of heat insert. So it does come with various attachments, as I said, and the actual heat insert. So I would suggest just doing some testing. It also comes with these little clamps and also a soldering attachment. So it does have versatility with this kit. And everything could be put away in the drawer that comes with the actual unit, which I think is an amazing little feature with this. It would be great in your crafting area. So for the time being, I'm going to put everything back in its storage box. But as I said, you can use the storage unit at the back as well to put all your heat insert attachments. And that just creates a nice tidy workspace. You can also use various other things to be able to fit in there, because there's plenty of space to do this. You could probably use all your heat inserts in there as well. Now that it's fully installed, let's just take a quick look over the unit itself and some of its capabilities. So let's take a look at the settings for this. So it does a range of different materials: PLA, ABS, PETG, nylon and TPU. And the ranges for those are clearly described in the instruction manual, what sort of temperatures to look at, because you want to avoid overheating it to prevent burning to the tip as well. To turn it on, press and hold the button marked in the middle on the sidewinder iron for about 3 seconds, and this will turn on the heating function. Adjust the temperature using the plus and minus buttons at the top and the bottom, and this will then adjust the temperature of the tip to your requirements. Now, as you know, this particular unit is basically set up so that you can push the actual soldering iron down onto your heat insert, and this will actually push the insert into your 3D printed part. And what we're going to do in a minute is show some of this in action. It's a very simple unit, so it's not overly complex. So what I'm going to now do before we start these little projects is to put some of the heat insert tips into the back plate at the back, just for display purposes, just to show you what you can do. But before we do that, we need to select the insert out of the pack that was supplied and make sure that the heat tip is the correct one for the job. Okay, so we're going to do a quick demonstration of how this heat press works. I have selected an item from my display unit. Now this is PLA, but it is a hollow actual base to a model that I printed. So the heat insert will most likely push all the way through. It's probably best to do this into a solid base, and the heat press will work properly. But for demonstration purposes, I just wanted to show you it in action. It's a very simple process, so it's not overly complicated and doesn't require too much showcasing on what it's capable of doing. Ultimately, it is a heat press that heats up a insert and pushes it into the plastic. It's not really too complex, but for display purposes, I just wanted to show you it in action. So you're probably going to need to align it a few times, especially with models like this. It's not too clear as to what direction it's going to go. But once you're happy, it pushes in place. But like I said, this particular model isn't ideal to display this actual process, but it was the best I could do in the meantime. And that worked perfectly. Now, like I said, it can do various materials from PLA, ABS, PETG, nylon, TPU. Here we have a def racer. Now, I have already pre-inserted these, but you can see the demonstration of how this would work. The def racers, I'll leave a link in the description as to where you can pick up these. It's cool 3D printed def racers by the real Sam Prentice. Check him out in the description below. Now, overall, the heat press was really easy to use and didn't take too long to put together. And as you can see, this would be great for any crafting store. Okay, so you've seen the unboxing. You've seen my initial thoughts on it. You've seen a little demonstration, just a quick press into a 3D printed item that I had. The actual item was hollow, so you'll notice that the actual heat press part went almost all the way through. But you know, once again, this is the heat press from Mintion, as you can see here. Pretty useful item. You have the little display unit as well, so it tells you the temperature. We've gone through the spec, so you know that. Would I purchase this for the price? Why not? I mean, at the moment it's about £35, so yeah, for me it's useful. This particular model come with a non-UK plug, so I did have to use one of my own attachments, but that was no big deal. As you can see inside here, you've got like a useful little storage box, and then you've got all the attachments for different sizes, and it just unscrews from the end. Nice and easy to use. The actual mechanism works really, really well, so you get that precision touch. You put your 3D printed part. Now you can use it independently if you choose to. If your project's slightly bigger than this unit volume, you can just undo those screws that we showed in the installation video and just pull this out and do it by hand. I think the overall look of it, aesthetically, it's a nice little unit, not expensive, something good for the crafting area. I'm going to write an article on this as well, so check that out on 3dwithus.com. one of my sponsors for this channel as well. I write articles for them all the time with various projects. So not only do I do the videos, but we do the article as well, which goes into a little bit more detail. And so just definitely check them out. Link in the article in the description below. Once again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks to Mintion for sending me this to review on my channel. Once again, thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring today's video. And don't forget to like and subscribe. That's Phil from 3DB UK Tech Channel. This was the Mintion Professional Heat Press Kit. Take care, everyone.